Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion, Vayishlach. Jacob returns from 20 years of exile. Those years were good to him. When he left, he was a refugee, fleeing his brother Esau, who wanted to kill him. When he left, he was a young, brash, arrogant, and somewhat shady and twisted fellow who didn't hesitate to do whatever it took to get ahead. He stole his older brother's birthright and then stole his blessing, tricking their father Isaac into believing that he was his older brother Esau. When he left, he was alone, with nothing but the clothes on his back. Now, Jacob returns a wealthy man. He has flocks and herds and exotic investments. He invented some kind of mating technique for livestock that made him fabulously wealthy. Everyone wanted to invest with him. And now he returns to the land of Israel, the land of his father, triumphant. He has a large family. He has financial and emotional stability, respect, and even love. He still needs to find a way to reconcile with Esau, and the Parsha describes in great detail how he does that. But once he and his brother reach some kind of live and let live arrangement, Jacob's wandering is over, and the circle is closed. He has returned in triumph. Everything that was foretold has come to be. He was blessed. He was the patriarch of what would become 12 tribes and eventually a great nation. As promised, God brought him back safe and sound and on top of the world. Esau went his own way. The threat was neutralized. The brothers would see each other only once more when they came together to bury their father Isaac. Finally, Jacob was safe. And then the Bible gives us this intriguing verse. Ve'Yaakov nasa Sukkota, vayiven lo bait, ulemikneu asa Sukkot. Esau went to a place called Seir, but Jacob journeyed to Sukkot. He built a house for himself, and he made Sukkot. He made shelters for his cattle. This is the first mention in the Bible of that word, Sukkot. It is the origin of the festival of Sukkot. And as you know, it means booths or shelters or stalls. And then the Bible tells us, Al ken kara shem hamakom Sukkot. And for this reason, Jacob named this place Sukkot. Our sages were very intrigued by this verse. Jacob built two structures in the verse. He built a bait, a home for himself and his large family, and he also built Sukkot, shelters for his livestock. And he named the place for his livestock. He named that place Sukkot. The rabbis ask, who names a place for his animals? He named the place for his cattle rather than for his family. It would be as if rather than naming the city Washington, we would have named it Blueskin, the name of George Washington's horse. Jacob built two structures, his home and these animal shelters. He could have named the place Bait, home. He could have named the place Beit Yaakov, Jacob's mansion. But he named the place Cattle Shelter. Why? You know why? I don't know why. Some sages suggest that this is the beginning of the Jewish concept of compassion to animals. There's an elaborate system of animal welfare that has been developed in Judaism, and for some, its origins are right here in our verse. Jacob went out of his way to protect his animals from the harsh sunlight. This would make sense from an economic perspective as well, because these animals were the source of Jacob's great wealth, so it's logical that he would want to protect his animals from the elements. But I think there's a deeper meaning. It's common for us to invest our wealth in our homes, to build ever bigger and more impressive houses. In New York, it's apartments, duplexes and triplexes, and I don't know, has anybody yet bought an apartment over there on 57th Street, the new building? No, not that I'm asking. And these structures that become ever bigger along with our ever-increasing wealth, these structures are often named for their builders. Levittown, Trump Towers, Trump everything. Carnegie Hall, Hearst Castle. Jacob didn't want to name the place Jacobtown or Jacob's Manor or Chateau de Yaakov. He didn't want to be remembered through structures. What he wanted was to be remembered for his essence, for what he considered to be his true contribution in life. He wanted to be remembered as Israel, the fighter, the one who established the house of Jacob, not the physical house, but the nation of Israel. Let me ask you, what is more enduring, a castle or a sukkah? If we look back throughout all of human history since the time of Jacob, what is more lasting? The great palaces that were built by King David, the temple built by Solomon and embellished by Herod, the Roman fortresses scattered throughout the ancient world, or even those magnificent buildings still, the remnants of which are still standing today, the pyramids, the Colosseum, the Parthenon. What is more lasting? These indestructible compounds that have been destroyed or are crumbling? Or a flimsy sukkah that is taken down or blown down, but then is easily reconstructed? I think that the Bible is trying to tell us that, of course, we need homes. We need resources to build these homes and to provide for our families and to live good lives. Judaism is all about living well and living comfortably and partaking in the vast bounty of the universe. If we can build a comfortable home, why not? We are meant to enjoy life. But we are not our homes. Structures are fleeting. Principles endure. For people who crave more material stuff, more money, more homes, more possessions, in the end, these cravings are hard to satisfy because we always want more. For others like Jacob, even though they have abundant wealth, these do not define them. What they seek is an inner satisfaction based on beliefs, principles, ideals, ideas, and values. And if they are fortunate to have much wealth, they seek to do good with this bounty and to contribute to the upbuilding of the human creature. Jacob named the place Sukkot precisely because he did not want that place to be confused with the undoubtedly big house that he built. He had to build a big house. He had a big family. Plus, he had a lot of wealth. I'm sure the neighbors noticed the big house that Jacob built. But that's not the name he gave the place. He named it Sukkot for the most fragile and modest structures, those cattle shelters. If he had named the place Jacob's Manor, we wouldn't have remembered it. when it would have eventually crumbled into dust. It's because he named the place after the most fragile booth that could be blown over with one gust of wind that we still know the name, because we associate that place not with Jacob's wealth, but with his dreams. In seeing the pictures of the awful destruction in the Philippines, I was thinking about the need for solid and stable homes. Those who escaped with their lives are now homeless, and many of the homes that were destroyed were flimsy structures, no more stable than a sukkah. We've opened an emergency fund for the victims of the Philippines. If you'd like to contribute, or go up to our website or come into the office, leave a contribution, and we'll make sure to send 100% of the funds onwards. There's a certain easy moralizing that we tend to convey to those who are less fortunate. We all do it. Those of us who have never lost our homes can't truly understand what utter devastation is like. Those of us who have as much food and as much material things as we need never really understand what it's like to be needy. Nothing else really matters when you don't have a home or food. These are the necessities that come first. And all the easy moralizing comes later. As the Kotzker Rebbe said, take care of your own soul in another person's body rather than your body and another person's soul. But what we can say, and what we have seen throughout human history, is that the non-material yearnings, the impulse to do good, to be generous, the attractions of love and beauty and friendship that characterize and animate the human spirit are often much more powerful and are often much more enduring than the impulse to accumulate things and to construct monuments. We've witnessed time and again the human capacity to rebuild, which is often stronger than nature or human nature's capacity to destroy. And because we can never confuse a sukkah with a citadel, it's often the sukkah that symbolizes the best of human qualities, the indestructibility of the human spirit, the urge to do something good and important, the recognition that the very fragility of life is the impetus to creating permanent structures of the spirit. And that, in the end, such a flimsy structure as a sukkah is often more lasting, more solid, more permanent, and more remembered than the mightiest castle. At least that's what the Bible thinks. Amen.